This is what I would recommend someone do if they are suffering from anxiety. First, I would start with a glass of water. If you're in bed 6 to 8 hours a night, you're going to wake up dehydrated. So I'd start with a glass of water first thing in the morning. At breakfast, I would have a meal of complex carbohydrates with a protein, and then I would add a stress B plus formula. Now, this is by Douglas Labs. It's basically a B complex, but it also has inositol, which is vitamin B8, and I don't find that in a lot of B complexes. So I would recommend Douglas Labs Stress B Plus tablet with breakfast in the morning of complex carbohydrates and protein. So I'll leave information in the description box below, recommending complex carbohydrates as well as some protein sources. Now at lunch, with your lunch, I would recommend that you have a glass of coconut water. Now, coconut water is going to be high in potassium, and I find it an incredibly absorbable form of potassium. So it's the potassium that's going to help reduce our anxiety, and it's going to help our nervous system function properly. We need potassium for our nervous system to function properly. I would also recommend at lunch eating foods high in vitamin C. Now, the vitamin C in my opinion, can be pretty energizing. So I like to have my vitamin C foods in the first half of the day, and it's also going to help our niacin function properly. So vitamin C foods include citrus foods, kiwi, green pepper. These are a few sources of vitamin C. Now for dinner, I usually try to have a protein, starch, and vegetable at dinner. And at dinner time, I recommend 50 milligrams of niacin. So this is Solgar, 100 milligram tablet. I recommend cutting these in half and taking one at dinner. Now, if you start to suffer what's called a niacin flush, you can have a small aspirin with the niacin to help remediate any symptoms of the niacin flush you may be experiencing. But anyways, 50 milligrams of niacin with dinner, the coconut water for potassium and vitamin C foods at lunch, the Stress B Plus tablet from Douglas Labs for breakfast with complex carbs and protein. And 90 minutes before bed, I recommend an Epsom salt foot bath. Now, the Epsom salt is where you're going to get your magnesium and sulfur. I recommend mixing the Epsom salt with distilled water in a mild acid like apple cider vinegar or even a lemon juice. Now, it's the mild acid that's going to help the Epsom salt dissolve better. So 90 minutes before bed, an Epsom salt foot bath. And with that, I recommend a glass of warm milk with maybe a little honey. Now, I really recommend cow's milk here because cow's milk's also going to have potassium. It will also have some iodine and probably B12. So the nutrient profile, in my opinion, from cow's milk is much better than almond milk. But if you are someone who has difficulty with dairy, then stick with almond milk or any milk of your choice. So warm glass of milk at night with an Epsom salt foot bath, and then having the right mindset. Now, the mindset I try to live by is to make the best decisions with the information I have, focus on what I control, and then let everything else go. So that is basically what I would recommend for someone to do if they are suffering from anxiety.